This is a 360-degree video. Swipe left or right across your mobile device, or click and drag with your desktop mouse to look around. Enjoy! Are you curious about Canadian mink farming? You're in the right place. Welcome to a Canadian mink fur farm, sometimes called a mink ranch. Throughout this 360 video, you'll see exactly what it's like inside a working mink farm, where the mink live, what they eat, how the farmer cares for them, and more. Ready? Let's go! A large part of mink farming is keeping them safe from diseases that can be carried by wild animals. Right now, we are outside the mink farm. This security fence borders the perimeter of the entire farm. The barns that the mink live in have an open concept design, making it very comfortable for the mink, but also more easily accessible by other animals. The security fence helps to keep wild animals out. This farm has several buildings, each with a specific purpose. The building to the far right is a machinery shop, storage for bedding material for the mink, and an employee area. This farm has 12 employees to help feed and care for the mink. The rows of barns to the right are where the mink are housed. You'll tour them shortly. The building to the left is the feed kitchen, where the feed for the mink is stored and prepared fresh each day. Now we're in the feed kitchen. Throughout the mink farming industry, there are two ways for farmers to obtain the feed they require for their mink. Some farmers have ingredients shipped directly to them, and they prepare their feed on site. That's what happens on this farm. On other mink farms, farmers purchase their feed ready-made from a centralized feed kitchen. Both options allow the farmer to provide high-quality feed to their mink. On this farm, the feed kitchen is where the ingredients are stored and the mink feed is prepared. Let's take a look at the different areas of this building. One of the things that makes mink farming so environmentally sustainable is the fact that the mink feed is made from high-quality ingredients that are not suitable for people to eat. In other words, if it wasn't being fed to the mink, the feed ingredients would often end up in landfill sites going to waste. Instead, it's shipped here in refrigerated trucks and stored in the cooler room until it's ready to be ground up, mixed together, and fed to the mink. What you're seeing are stacks of storage containers with a variety of high-protein foods in each of them, such as Parmesan cheese, egg whites, bread, fish, and beef. A mink's diet is very important for their growth, health, development, fur quality, and comfort. Their well-balanced diet also includes a specially designed cereal, plus a combination of vitamins and minerals as formulated with help from a specialized nutritionist. Here is the grinder. When the feed ingredients arrive on the farm, they must first be ground down to finer pieces before being mixed together and fed to the mink, which is exactly what this machine does. The farmer works directly with their nutritionist to formulate a feed recipe that will benefit the current stage of production. A mink's diet changes throughout the year depending on the season. For example, during the conditioning and breeding period, which happens from January to March every year, the mink are fed a low-fat diet to help them prepare for successful breeding and reproduction. Then, the fat level of the diet increases during the lactation period in May and June to help the mother mink produce lots of milk for her kids. This is the feed mixer. This machine combines all the different ingredients of the mink's diet into a soft mixture for the mink to eat. Think of a can of wet cat food. The texture is quite similar. Once the feed is mixed together, it's transferred from the tank you see here into several feed carts. Each feed cart has a smaller mixing tank that stores the feed until the farmer or farm employee is ready to begin feeding the mink. This is what it looks like when the mink are being fed. As you can see, the feed cart operator sits at the front of the machine so they can both steer the cart and operate the nozzle that's attached to the feed tank. The operator positions the nozzle over the top of each pen and presses a button to advance the feed down the tube, out the nozzle, and onto the top of the pen. In this barn, there are 2 to 3 mink in each pen, so they share the feed that they're provided. During the growing period, the mink are fed twice a day, in the morning and again in the afternoon. The feeding frequency might change depending on the time of year and what stage of production the mink are in. To go along with their feed, the mink have constant access to clean, fresh drinking water from the watering nipples at the front of their pens. This is what a mink barn looks like. Mink barns are typically quite long and so house many mink. Mink are kept in pens to give them the safest, most comfortable environment possible, and so the farmer can provide them with the best possible care. Unlike other animals, mink are not naturally social. In fact, they are a solitary animal and would travel alone if in the wild. Keeping the mink in small social groups like you see here allows them to get the socialization they need, but not become overwhelmed. Enrichments, or toys, are provided in each pen for the mink to play with. Enrichments provide stimulation for the mink and improve their welfare. Happy mink equals healthy mink. You can also see mink farmers Jenny and Dean looking over a mink to make sure it's healthy, comfortable, growing well, and that its fur is coming in nicely. Now we're right inside a pen with some mink. Mink are very curious animals. They're as interested in watching us as we are in watching them. As you can see, there's lots of room for the mink to move around. At one end, each pen has a nest box that's filled with wood shavings or straw. During whelping season, when the kits are being born, the females will use the nest box to birth their kits and will keep them there so they stay warm and well fed. On this farm, females can have between 5 and 6 kits per litter. At the other end of the pen is the drinking nipple that provides 24/7 access to clean, fresh water. Here is one of the barns where the mink are housed. This farm has 8 barns in total, each of which are 400 feet long. While there are many different types of mink, each with different colors of fur, this particular farm raises black mink. Below the mink pens, you can see the manure system. Mink manure drops through the bottom of the pens into the gutter, which is turned on a few times throughout the day to clear the manure away from the mink using an automatic scraper. The manure is stored in a bunker behind the barns and is later recycled into a high-quality fertilizer that is spread onto neighboring cropland, showing yet another example of the importance of environmental sustainability that's proudly practiced throughout the mink farming industry in Canada. Thank you for visiting this Canadian mink farm. If you'd like to find out more about Canadian mink farming, check out the other mink videos in this section.